All right, Cubs fam. This is here. You guys willed a whale chat to happen about the latest road ahead. And here we go. I have got one of the biggest panels yet we have had for a community conversation about current events in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Of course, today we're talking about all things road ahead. 7 different subjects within the road ahead that we are going to cover today. Now, if this is the first whale chat you have been to, the way this works is I have brought on a panel of whales, free-to-play, Krakens alike, from the community. Some names you guys might recognize, and some people are just average, everyday players just like you who are out there following this game and loving this game. And we're going to discuss how everybody feels about the road ahead and everything from within. I think these are important to have, especially when we have big news drops like this. Everybody's got strong feelings, and it's easy to be stuck in your own zone of where you are at with a specific news drop. But hearing other perspectives where other people are, I think, helps level yourself to figure out how you actually feel about some of these things, hear things that maybe you haven't thought about before, and from people who are in different areas of the game. And I think that's why this series has been so fun and so successful. Even though we haven't done it in a while, I'm really excited to bring it to you today. So let me introduce you guys to the panel today, and then we will get right into the thick of this road ahead. We've got AP Gaines, Bree, Rambam, Ranger, Stark, and Berserker. And so I'm going to go top to bottom and give you guys a little bit of background. You guys know AP Gaines. He's got his own channel. And AP Gaines, the only thing we want to know about you right now is, are you free to play, whale, or Kraken?
I am a frog. I am donation to play. I am poor, so I cannot spend money on the game, but sometimes people waste their own money for me, and I'm glad to spend other people's money.
That's like a totally new term. Not free to play, not paid to play, donation to play. And I will leave a link down below to AP Gaines' YouTube channel so you guys can check him out. Fun stuff there. Bree, plucked right from the chat. Bree, are you free to play, pay to play, or Kraken?
I am primarily free to play. I will throw money at a really good deal now and again, but for the most part, I don't spend money on the game.
Okay, so most part, and I think you said before we started, lifetime in this game, which is, I mean, how many years? 3, 4, 5 years, somewhere around there?
Not even, probably only like 2, but
Okay.
maybe about $100 spent in those 2 years.
About $100 spent. Okay, so purebred free-to-players would be like, you're never free to play! But you're basically in the free-to-play camp with that low of an amount spent on the game. Rambam is here, and, okay, Ranger. No, I'm just kidding. Rambam,
yes.
you have been in the Kraken camp before, I would say. I know that one time we had a whale chat, you were well over 30 grand spent on the game at that point. You took a free-to-play pledge. I think that now you are back to spending. So we'll ask you, you've kind of experienced many camps of the game. How would you classify yourself now?
I would say I am a retired whale, more of a medium-sized dolphin now. I have no problem spending. Obviously, my pledge ended when I felt like CG was doing good things for the game, which is about a year ago or so. But I certainly don't buy every single marquee ever. So.
I need to see your tax returns. Just kidding. All right, that's good. So you're kind of in more of a pay-to-play camp now, but not like going ham. Ranger, we all know Ranger. Links down below to his stuff as well. And Rambam streams. Ranger, tell us where you're at.
I heard tax returns. I have to leave the stream. I'm sorry. That's inappropriate.
Oh, man. I said it would be a spicy chat, guys.
I'm sorry. I'm a quadrillionaire. I don't need to have you looking at my finances.
I would say Ranger's in the whale camp. Would you agree, Ranger?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I don't buy the when the marquees come out. The only thing I don't do is get the marquees when they first come out because I just hate the number 7, and it's well documented. But I will get the characters out of the Shard store. I buy other packs. I just bought the some packs today, so I do spend on the game. But I'm more like, it has to make sense to me. Like, I just don't buy to buy like some people, but I definitely do spend on the game.
Okay, there we go. Stark Holdings. Well, you are more. I think you're pretty close to a Kraken almost. I would say.
I would say I'm probably dolphin to whale to kraken, depending. The thing is, I will spend on things that I like. So, for example,
Okay.
Kenobi, I had no trouble throwing down a credit card to relegate a few extra characters and get him up to relegate. But generally, I don't like spending a lot. But if it's characters I like, I'm okay with it.
Okay, there you go. So selective spending. And then finally, we're going to bring it home with Berserker, who is actually Bree's sibling, right?
Yeah, Jesus. She is my partner.
Oh, wow. Different kind of relationship. Anyway.
Go on.
Completely.
Go on.
Just a smidge.
Berserker also plugged from the chat, and you're kind of more in the free-to-play camp, if I remember right.
Yes. I spent a little bit more than my significant other, but not by much. I'm probably about $200, maybe $250. I only have about 3.5 mil GP, and when I got my chance to get Jedi Knight Luke, I was frustrated and went ahead and bought the Hyperdrive bundle. So I got a little bit of a jump start there, but when you're already at past 3 mil, it's really not much of a jump start.
Right. Yeah, it was a good deal. It was a good. I still think that a lot of people, if they're gonna, what I said with the Hyperdrive bundle is, if you're ever gonna spend $100 in the game, the first 100 should be on the Hyperdrive bundle. So all right, we're ready to get started here. Now there are 7 subjects we're going to cover in this video. I'm gonna give you guys the order of conversation today. We're gonna get the biggest one out of the way first: the nerfs. The future of Galactic Legends, and what seems like CG's move to remove the ability of non-Galactic Legend teams to counter Galactic Legend teams. That is issue number 1 on the table. Then we're going to talk about Conquest changes, something that might lighten the mood a little bit from there. The new version of Maul coming to game will be our third subject to tackle. And then right in the middle, subject number 4, we're going to turn up the heat again with some Relic 9 conversation. After Relic 9, we'll go to Lord Vader, then Piet's capital ship, subject number 6, and then rounding it out at the very end of the video with our last subject, subject number 7, the community, GAC, community versus the devs, which was announced. That was only in the video, not in the post, and something that I think a lot of us are kind of leaning in, very excited to see what that's going to look like. So, starting with the nerfs. So CG has said in their post, they want to shore up Galactic Legends. They have announced nerfs to virtually every character in the game who we know counters Galactic Legends, including, I think, one of the biggest ones was Thrawn, a very long time meta counter character. With Fracture, it's in particular, is getting nerfed against Galactic Legends. So I would like to give Ranger a chance to get us kicked off here on this. Ranger, this item in particular, what was your reaction when you saw this is what CG was doing?
It's a mixed bag, baby. You know, I mean, if we just talk about the road ahead as just a post, there's a lot of good things I like. There's a lot of things I'm just shaking my head at. These are one of them. And we actually talked offline about this, right? And I was kind of half a dead to the world, but we did. I was like, yeah, I don't like it. But I'm baffled. Here's why. When we did a stream yesterday and we did Jedi Academy today, which we extended because I had so many questions I could not keep up with it. I've never had that happen on that stream before. Where I mean, hundreds of questions and I couldn't answer them all. And the biggest thing that I saw was, how does this affect this? How does this affect this? What do you think about this team? This kind of thing. And it's got people really spooked at the least, worried at the most, and just giving up at this point. Like they're done. Because in the video, not so much the post, but the video, in the post you just see the nerfs. Yeah. In the video they talk about 2 things. They talk about how getting past true defense and the damage and all this stuff is kind of a problem. I don't have a problem with that. If it's something that's broke, fix it. I'm cool with that. Yeah. But then they got to the second part and they talked about how they want to make Galactic Legends like raid bosses. And that really made me pause, because I was like, well, wait a minute. what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to say that because people have come up with counters that work and they're not even consistent? We actually talked about this on my stream today, like the consistency of these counters. Are you trying to say you want Galactic Legends to be this be-all, end-all thing? Fine. If that's the direction you want to go, it's your company. You do what you want to do, but you're going to kill the game. And here's why I'm saying that, because if you look at GAC, when I have 4 Galactic Legends, I'll get GL Vader. It's not a problem. I don't have C. I just never have been interested. I will eventually get him, but I'm just not interested. If you look at the way GAC is set up, what makes GAC so much fun and why I love this community so much is the theory crafting, coming up with these teams. But the problem is I don't think CG, I really wonder, are they playing this game? Because if you think about the counters, and we talked about the percentages on the stream today, the counters are not 100%, not even close.
Yeah.
They are effective, but it depends on
We're
mods.
nerfing shaky counters.
It depends on mods, and it depends if you have the right characters, and it depends on the team that they lay. If they have Rey just resistance, you're fine. You can use Vader, and it's a pretty good counter. However, if they go Rey 3 tanks, which I do with JTR, not only does it screw up Vader, it really dicks up Palpatine. Just like with SLKR. If you put an SLKR team down on defense, not as prevalent as it used to be, but it's still there. Okay, that's great, but if they have first order option there, your Jedi Knight Luke counter becomes really wonky. Palpatine, if they throw a Ness or something like that along the line, you cannot use troopers. They will get into the stupid thing with Ness where you can't beat her because she gets the turn meter and you're hosed, right?
Yep.
So there's just these little offshoots of this stuff that, I'm like, what are you looking at? What is the data that's telling you that? And I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. If you want to make GLs a big thing, fine. But what you're going to create is a very stale, boring, and ridiculous GAC. It's like, have GLs or else. And if you have GLs, don't put them on defense, because you can't take the risk, because someone who does maybe hold on to it gets rid of the creativity of the GAC. I love that about GAC. That's one of my favorite game modes. I love the fact that I have to look at someone's account. I have to look at their GAC history. I have to figure out and this is if you're interested in like being competitive. What are their mods?
Which, let me interject there for anyone who doesn't know, Ranger is among the most competitive GAC players in the world. Your record is astounding to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm what am I, 885,000 GAC lifetime? I mean, there's much better players who I think are better at GAC than I am. I mean, I take it seriously.
You're top echelon, my man. You're top echelon. Yeah.
So when I look at this stuff, I look at like, okay, what can they counter with? What could they possibly put down? What have they put down in the past? What are my options for how many GLs I'm going to put down? Yada, 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 yada. You go down the line. It's for me, it's like a chess game. They've turned this into checkers. It's gone from chess to checkers, and it's stupid. And I got some of the argument that like, well, we don't know what counters will come out in the future. That's true. I mean, the community's great, and they'll come up with counters eventually. But I don't. There's a lot of problems I have with this. First, you do the nerfs, and then you introduce Relic 9. Warrior brought this up in Jedi Academy today. Like, it's bad enough that you brought up all these nerfs, which is basically saying, and you can say it however you want. You can give the defensive penetration is separate from the fact that you pick specific characters and specific teams, and especially in the video with Dark Trooper, which was another one that was not mentioned in the post, that counter GLs. Yep. And then on top of that, you're introducing Gear 9, which is going to make GLs, which is, who's not going to put on a GL?
Relic 9, not Gear 9. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Relic 9, I apologize. It's like, I know I don't have the data that CG has. I know I don't have all the information, but I have a lot. Krakens are pissed. Loki, who's one of the biggest spenders in this game, who's on RSG, that's my sexy Buddha brother, is pissed. Horribly pissed. All the Krakens he knows are pissed, because all this money and time that they spent with all these counters to give them some viability when you're in Division 1 and you have 9 million GP and you're trying to figure out, like, do I put 2 GLs down or 3? Can this counter do this? What does this person use? Is gone. I know mid-tier players are pissed, because now it's like, if you don't have a GL, not going to maybe make the decision, do I spend more in this game or not? Free-to-play are pissed, because it's like, what the hell do I do if I'm a new coming player and I'm working on these? What do these other teams mean now? If you want to make GL so damn powerful, which I'm okay with if you want to put it in perspective. But then if you get rid of everything else on the bottom, it's like GL's A team, what the hell do you have? I'm not talking about other game modes. I'm not talking about TB and other nonsense. I'm talking about GAC and the competitive game where it's TW and GAC and Arena. What the hell are we doing here, CG? I really have a problem with this. I've been thinking about this since we had our conversation. I've really been thinking about it. I've been a little bit calm about this. I really have. In Jedi Academy, I was very calm, and I'm getting a little bit more angry the more I think about this. Like, what is going on here? I want an explanation of why you thought this was a problem. What data, because I look at Star Wars Galaxy Heroes.gg, what data were you looking at that convinced you that this was a change that was necessary? Defensive penetration set aside. What was the specific reasons why you picked these counters and not any other else in the entire roster that you decided that these had to go? These had to be changed for the betterment of the game. Maybe it is. I can't see the future, but that's where I'm standing.
This was an incredible summary. I want to thank you for that, Ranger. I think you articulated very, very effectively what, in my opinion, are some of the biggest concerns with this change. And I want to illustrate very clearly for everyone watching this video right now, it's very easy as a free-to-play player out there to see this kind of thing as simply affecting free-to-play players. Oh, all they want to do is screw you over if you don't have a GL. And while it does definitely do that, I think Ranger hit on something that's very important to realize is this is not just about that. This affects pay-to-play players negatively, in some cases more so, because of how much money and resources have been poured into having those off-meta counters for GLs, which is something I said in my vlog-style video, is how many of the world's top best Grand Arena players spend more time probably with mods, with strategy, with farming, with resources in those off-meta counters, which enable them to place Galactic Legends confidently on defense. And that is the best end game strategy you could possibly have for Grand Arena. So I think that is one of the biggest, most solid points we have about this, and one of the biggest and most valid concerns. Now,
quick example. Let me just throw this out there. For instance, Loki put all his GLs on defense recently in a GAC because he had all the counters to the other guy.
He deserves to do that. He deserves to be able to do that. I see why he's pissed.
Just throwing that out there. That I'm just giving you an example of what this really means.
Yeah. So it really isn't like, I mean, free to play players can and should be pissed about this if they want to be, but it really does not just affect that camp. Okay, I want to move on. Let's talk to the free to play camp. Bree, you're up. Tell me a little bit where you're at on this and kind of how all of these changes to the future of Galactic Legends felt for you, where you're sitting as a very, very light spender in the game.
Well, I'm mostly intimidated by all of this because, like, I had a game plan of how I was gonna work towards my first GLs. I was gonna work on getting some of those non-GL counters up and running beforehand because they just seemed more attainable. But at this point, with everything that's going on, it's like, okay, is it even gonna matter? Am I even going to be able to keep up as a free-to-play player?
Tell me more about that. So not being able to keep up as a free-to-play player, I think that's something that a lot of free-to-play players already feel a lot of. So help me understand how this feels elevated now because of this.
Like you said, it always kind of feels that way. I know I'm going to be far behind. I'm watching you guys more at the end game. And going, well, I'm not going to get there anytime soon. But seeing all these changes to the end game, like especially throwing in Relic 9, relics in general are pretty difficult for people at my level to attain. So Relic 8, I'm looking at that as something that's going to happen way down the line. Relic 9, not even close. And seeing things like Relic 8s as requirements for some of these new GLs, I'm just like, oh man, I've kind of resigned myself to never getting there, which is no fun. Like, I'm seeing all this cool new stuff come out. It's like, well, that'll be nice to watch other people play with, but I don't get to play with these myself.
And there's I feel like there's a big difference too, Bree, between, all right, that feels unattainable, so I'm going to accept my position in the game and I'm going to work on off meta counters. I'm going to farm the off meta counters and that kind of thing. That option seems to be taken away from you at this point. By the way, you guys can see on the screen, Zareth came in here, dropped some bits. Thank you, Zareth. You're awesome. Is that kind of where you're at too, Bree?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's sorry, lost my train of thought there for a second.
Oh, you're fine. we got a little distracted. So I just going over how, like, if a team feels unattainable for you, you may accept, all right, I'm just not going to get this character. But there's options for free-to-play players. You're going to play in your bracket. You might run into some GLs, but instead of focusing on a GL, you focus on the counter to that GL. And so now that's effectively being taken away.
Exactly. And like I'm sitting here trying to reassess, like, do I need to drop what I'm trying to do currently and immediately start going for GLs? Because if GLs are going to be the only thing that can counter another GL, if I run into a GL in GAC, I'm pretty boned.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a challenge for me currently anyway, but it seems like it'd be something that I could get through with what I have, depending. But I don't know. It just seems like it's a lot more trouble than I feel like it should be for a game that's supposed to be fun.
I feel like I want to show you the meme right now of what's his name? Oh my gosh, the actor's name's escaping me. Where he's got the noose around his neck and he's looking at you, smiling. He's like, first time.
First time? Yeah.
James Franco.
Franco, that's right. Thank you, guys. Now that you kind of flirted around, I think another very important consideration for free-to-play players, which right now, farming priorities are unique. When are you going to go for GLs? When are you going to go for CLS? When are you going to, like, when you're a brand new player, you've got these specific routes in the journey guide that you might take, and GLs might not be the first thing you go for because you want to build a well-developed roster, and the first thing that you go for isn't necessarily a GL. Maybe you're going to take a little more time to get some of those important legendary characters first. But now my question is, and I'll leave this open-ended if anybody wants to say how they feel about this, maybe Berserker, since you're more in the free-to-play camp, but does it feel to you guys like CG is basically telling players nothing matters except for GLs? Because if you run into a GL, you don't have a GL, you're screwed. And so everything else in our game doesn't matter anymore. It is only about these GLs, and if you don't have them, get lost.
I disagree.
You know, I feel like it kind of can be taken that way, and clearly the masses say that. I also feel at the same time that the way they worded it in the video, that they want to make them more like raid bosses, can be taken a couple different ways. It seems like a lot of the nerfs and or buffs have been directed to alleviate the characters' abilities that affect regular characters. So like how JKL can't be stunned or is immune to fear, they apply that ability to like a blanket to all GLs now. It's kind of like how you can't stun a raid boss. It's kind of the same way. That's my take on that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's what they're thinking, but that's what I think it is.
Okay, yeah, so different kind of way to see that, and that is something that brings up, I think, an important point, and something that I touched on a little bit in that vlog style video I already referenced, is right now we don't see what this looks like in practice. It feels like they're trying to completely eliminate any chance for off-meta counters to counter GLs, in my opinion, but they might not do that. There could be still hope for those things once we see that implemented. And once we put our brains together and figure out what this new normal for Galaxy of Heroes looks like, we could have a different scenario. So is that kind of where you're at? It sounds like Berserker, you might be in a little bit more of a wait and see mentality with this.
Oh, I'm totally in a wait and see kind of mentality. It's hard to deduce everything from one post, and
That's fair.
try and figure out what they're going to do with it. It's easy to jump to conclusions and, almost go into a doomsday mode and like, oh crap, we're screwed. But at the same time, it could be just a small buff, because you go through the the road ahead, and like Skywalker's one of his abilities now, the cooldown doesn't affect GLs. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. You can't cool down a GL. All right. So it lessens his effectiveness as a counter, but he's still going to be dealing a crazy amount of damage. He still has the 2 attacks on his basic. The one that really I think is going to be the biggest one is the fracture on Thrawn not being affected towards GLs, which is a huge counter to Rey and a lot of the other major GLs in the game.
Yep, touching Thrawn was a big deal, and actually it makes me want to share a meme with the chat. I'm gonna go out here real quick. There's actually let's pull this up right here. I'm gonna pop that on the screen right now. I think this one's really funny. It shows Thrawn's tombstone, and you've got Crumb sitting there with it.
Did I see you sent that to Crumb?
I actually did send it to Crumb, yeah.
What a subtle flex. What a subtle flex in the little bottom right hand there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, hey, man, you got to admit, this is pretty funny. He hasn't responded, but I'm sure he'll think it's funny, too. So, anyway, I had to share that with you guys in the chat. So, moving along here. And one quick thing I do want to say, too, to add to Berserker, who and Ranger also cited this, which was concerning to him, that CG mentioned they want GLs to be like raid bosses. Non-GLs can solo raid bosses. Just wanted to throw that out there. So all right.
Can I get in here real quick?
I was gonna give you a chance, Rab. So why don't we turn it to you right now? Any other thoughts on this GL nerf subject, or GL buff? Everything
all
else
right.
nerf.
So you said earlier that you had mentioned that most everybody's probably going to be in agreement on this. I'm actually on more of the other side of that fence.
Oh, we're gonna hate you. Everybody hate him. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone be respectful, okay? All right, here we go.
I'm with them. I got you, Ram.
Okay, so with these buffs or nerfs, because there are some buffs, there are some nerfs, and I want to clarify that, because a lot of people are saying, well, JKL got nerfed. He didn't. He actually got a huge buff, if you think about it, because he's going to now hit the GL for 3 times, 3 amounts of damage, rather than trying to stun a GL that can't be stunned.
Which
right?
is what he does with the raid boss, which is great. You can do a lot of damage from that.
Exactly. And so that actually helps out a lot. Gas getting the nerf against GLs kind of sucks. But, huge buff with 501st. Vader seems like he got a huge nerf, but what I want to say about all this, the only one that got a true nerf was Watt with the remove, ignore damage or defense, right? Which got removed from everybody with the exception of C, right? C ignores defense when attacking Jedi. That's the only one left to my knowledge that actually ignores defense still in the whole game. So these changes like this have come out before, maybe not to this drastic effect, but they've come out before, and we make a big deal, myself included. We make a huge deal about the numbers, and we're like, oh no, this is horrible for the game. This is bad for the game. And it looks bad, but we don't know the extent of how this is. And I'm by no means am I at that top level and smart and capable of working these things out, right? So there's going to be people when these changes come out live that they're going to test this and see. Maybe we're making a big deal out of nothing. With Vader, right? He got a buff on his basic because he now 100% chance to ability block rather than 80%.
I dig that, which would help against Rey, right?
Doesn't help against Rey, but that when were you actually really using his basic against Rey?
I
not
was.
going.
Yeah, well, that's fundamental to the Vader counter, is being able to keep ability block on Rey.
But that doesn't change, right? Because she's not a Jedi, she's not a rebel. So
Right.
that doesn't change. That wasn't the issue from before, anyways. Merciless got a 50% increase on crit chance. The Culling Blade increases to 100% damage with raid bosses, so he's going to be super effective in raids. The problem with the Culling Blade is it has a 40% damage nerf, right? So the Culling Blade is going to be less useful with WAD against, raid GLs type thing. The no escape with the 2% protection is good. He has some protection recovery now that he didn't have before. So there's still use for him. Maybe not in the exact same lineup that you were using before, but there's still use. Same with gas. He's still gonna do the double hits on all his basics, or all his abilities. He's still gonna do the double hits. That's still a lot of damage, even if it's not reducing cooldowns, which is huge, and or if he's reducing max health, which is again huge. He's still doing a lot of damage, especially under like JML or JMK.
So let me see if I understand, because I think I get what you're getting at, and I actually like it. You are not necessarily suggesting that you are okay with the idea of GLs not being counterable without GLs. You're more suggesting, with what I'm seeing on paper here, I'm not convinced that it's going to be impossible to counter GLs without GLs. Is that am I understanding you right?
I am more convinced with this, as with any other changes that ever come out in this game. This is going to take the standard team that you have worked your counter up for. This is going to change that, right? You may not be able to use Watt with Vader anymore. Maybe use Watt or Armor with Vader and get some different. I don't know. I'm not a tester. I don't know these things, but this may change the comps. These characters may still be able to do things against GLs. Maybe on paper it looks bad, but we don't know what we don't know in the game, right? No one can test this. No one can play this with the exception of developers who aren't going to tell us the changes of this, right?
Okay. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Ram. Let me ask you this. If this change comes out and it is now like literally impossible to beat a GL without a team that has a GL in it, will you be okay with that, or will you not be okay with that?
I will be upset because I have worked for these counters to get. I built up my troopers. I built up my Vader, and I love Vader. Vader's one of my all-time favorites. I love what they did with Vader. I think it's the best rework of all time.
Don't touch my boy.
Vader, along with Newt, two of the best reworks they've ever done.
Agreed.
But if that comes out to be the case, then one or two things, right? I'll be disappointed that we lose all our counters. That's going to really hurt a lot of people. I have 5 GLs. That's going to hurt me, right? I'm not going to place GLs on defense in hopes that I can full clear. So it's going to become a much more banner efficiency battle rather than a who has more GLs, who can get through GLs type battle, because everybody's going to save their GLs because you can't use counters for them. But on that note, their reasoning, whether or not it's the exact reasoning, whether or not I think that their reasoning is true, that's all we have to go off of right now. Their reasoning for doing this was they have GLs at a certain tier, and then right underneath it, you have those characters that are able to counter GLs but aren't GL worthy. Vader, JMK, Gas, right? We could all think that those characters are definitely GL worthy without actually being GLs, right? They just do massive amounts of damage, and they're insane. Their kits are crazy. What they're doing is they're expanding that gap, because their reasoning for that was there's no wiggle room to insert X number of characters with X number of capabilities of taking out GLs or doing whatever. There's no way to insert that without conflicting with the other characters. Sucks to see a lot of these changes thrown. That's the one I can't defend them on. I can't defend them on Thrawn. I may defend them on a couple of these, but I can't defend them on Thrawn. Don't touch Thrawn. Thrawn has been the anti-meta leader for how long? And his fracture is still going to work. It's not going to prevent them from taking a turn. That's all that is.
It's the point. That's the point of fracture.
It is. It is, but it's not I think some people are maybe concerned that fracture is just not going to work. Period. Fracture, you can still fracture them, still going to prevent buffs. It just won't prevent them from taking a turn, and that's a huge impact. I'm not denying that, but they can still be fractured.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like you're pretty well with the rest of us on kind of some things that I said before, just maybe a little more optimistic, which we need right now. I admire your optimism, and I hope that it turns out you're right. I still want to hear from Stark Holdings and AP Gains.
Can I spoil it?
We're gonna move on to Conquest changes next, but I want both of you to be able to give your thoughts on the future of GLs and these nerfs / buffs that are happening. So whoever wants to go first.
Yeah.
All right. You mind if I slip in really quickly, boys? I mean, I don't take too much time. I'm sure Rambam knows all about that. I am in the small minority of people who this change almost exclusively is a massive, massive, awesome point. It's probably one of the best changes I've ever seen. And it's for a very specific reason. Most of my audience is people who are early to mid game, mostly exclusively free to play. We all religiously follow the quote unquote AP Gains approved strategy. And our rosters are all built especially to defeat people with Galactic Legends. So every time I see a Galactic Legend, I don't have a Galactic Legend, 3.3 million GP. I'm going for Glock. Sorry. JMK since Cub's here. So every time I see my opponent has a Galactic
Sorry, I just
Legend,
vomited
I'm
in
like,
my mouth
all
a
right.
little bit.
Every time I see an opponent with a Galactic Legend, I'm like, all right, free dub. We don't plan. We kind of just throw some stuff on defense. We clean it up in like a 10-minute stream, and it's just another win in the win category.
Yeah.
So for all of us, it's really good because our accounts are specifically designed to beat everyone except for people who also have our own farming strategy, and then like skill comes into it. So for me and all of my guys, I mean, this is fantastic. It's going to push more people to farming GLs early in a panic, which just means there's more guaranteed wins. So the counters are mostly annoying for me because I'm good friends with Ian, and Ian spent a lot of time coming up with like cool anti-Ray, anti-C, anti-blah, blah, blah counters. And he's kind of pissed, so I feel bad for him. But, you know, I'm early game players, mid game players, we're all totally fine with it.
Okay, so I'm not sure I think that statement's fair 100%. That early and mid game players are all fine with this.
Okay, well, my early and mid game players are fine with it because our accounts are built to beat not only people who don't have GLs, but also have GLs. So
Okay, so here's the question I have for you then, AP, is if this ends up being a situation where you cannot beat GLs if you don't have GLs, how does that feel like a good thing for people who don't have GLs?
No, we don't beat the GLs. We win the GACs. Sorry, I should have been more clear there. We play strong defenses because we widen out our roster. We make sure we have more efficient full teams. Our opponents, even if they save their GLs for offense, can't full clear our front zones. Or at least it's never happened to me or anyone that I've talked to who uses the strategy. And then we beat their team, more of their teams more efficiently than they do ours, which is why the GACs are boring. And I oftentimes just like upload a quick video instead of streaming it. But we don't care about beating the GLs, which is why not being able to counter GLs doesn't really matter because we never actually fight the GL itself. We fight the GAC and win the GAC as opposed to fighting the GL. So that's why there's a huge caveat there. And none of you guys are going to be in the same camp because a lot of you guys are endgame
Does that
players,
still
so.
work if they place a GL on their front bottom wall?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I have a video coming out tomorrow in the morning of that exact situation, front bottom wall GL. It's like a quick video, and then 3 hours later, I have a
you just clear
video.
the top 2 zones and you win.
Yeah, and even we don't even need to clear because he cleared 0 of my front zones. He beat 1 team, and he saved everything but his GL for offense. And the video coming out is after it is should you now all of a sudden rush GL? And I say no. Look at the video I posted earlier. We have ways around people with GL, so it's not the end of the world for us.
Okay, so this is interesting. So this is where I'm at with this now. From what you've said, is you've got a more of a niche approach to GLs, which is great, and it seems to be working. So if you hate this change, follow AP Gains, guys, because he's got a pretty creative solution already in the works. Setting your strategy aside, though, I want to give you a chance to, I guess, weigh in on this. Do you think it's healthy for this game to have a scenario where you have a tier of characters that are unbeatable unless you have that same character?
No, I think it's awful that's why the huge caveat is awful for everyone who's above basically where I'm at right now. I don't have a GL. Once I have a GL, I'll be annoyed. I'm still going to place mine on defense and do the same strategy. I think it's awful. It's great for my winning percentage. It's awful for how much fun I have. Awful for how much fun my subscribers have. So it's a bad change for the game. It's a good change for win percentage. I don't know how to balance
for how
those
you
two
play
because
the
I am
game
quite a,
and your people.
yeah, for how for us.
And
that's
most
the
people
caveat.
don't play the game that way. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's why the caveat was just for me and my people. But you gotta look after your own.
I see what you're saying now. We're on the same page. I like it. Okay, great. AP Gains. Of course, nothing is normal over in AP Gains' channel. So of course, his whole approach to the game would be unique. That's awesome. All right, Stark, bring us home on the GL conversation. You've been sitting the longest. I hope you're awake.
Whoa, hold on. Let me wake up here. So yeah, let me get in. I think similar to what AP Gain said, I think I have a little bit of a unique situation, but let me explain my perspective. I have 4 of the 5 GLs, but I just recently got SLKR and Kenobi both. So I'm pretty new, I guess, to having both of the other 2. I don't even have the ult unlocked yet on SLKR. So for me, like the next thing that I was going to start focusing on was like the GL counters. So getting like Revan and everything ramped up so that I could start countering GLs without GLs. Now that I had enough to actually be in a GAC where multiple people were going to place multiple of them. So I guess for me, I feel like maybe this is okay because I haven't spent a ton of time and resources ramping up those specific tunes that they nerfed.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel concerned about like what is this going to do to game balance? Like I'm trying to understand. I think the video seemed like a little bit of bait and switch, like, oh, there's all this issue with defense penetration, but then we're nerfing all these things that don't really have to do with defense penetration. Like basically it's like if you want to just make it where you have to have a GL to beat a GL, just say that. And then maybe the GAC meta will shift to people placing a GL with really sketchy low end tunes because they know you have to have a GL to basically beat that squad anyways, and you save as much as you can to be successful. Like I feel like that, this community is awesome and we'll find ways to optimize our score and our defense and offensive strategies based on what they're trying to do. I just feel like I'm not sure what they're trying to do. Like they spent all this time talking about design space that they wanted to free up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, so what does that mean? Like if I look at my roster, I only have about unreliced characters left. There's only about headroom for like maybe 4, maybe 5 more GLs. After that, they're going to have to start releasing a bunch of new characters to make us relic them to be able to have a GL. So I'm like, what are they trying to do? Are they going to create a separate GAC for just GLs and then you have a GAC for non-GLs? Or like, it just feels like a weird situation. So I'm not personally very mad about the fact that I've dumped a bunch of resources into it and time optimizing counters that are now having to be thrown out the window. But I do have concerns about what this means because I think if you can't, like if you just say a blanket statement, there's no way to counter a GL without another GL. I'm not sure that's good for GAC specifically, which I think most of us love that format.
Yeah. Very, very, very well said. I like where you're coming from there. So everyone, listen, let's get in the comments. Tell me how you guys feel a little bit more about this. I think a lot of really good points were made. We have some people who are a little more optimistic than others, and I think that's great too. But ultimately, it feels like nobody here really can get behind this idea of GLs not being able to be countered by non-GL characters. And so hopefully once this change hits, we find that's not the case. My fear is that will be the case based on a lot of the language CG used in their post, but we will have to wait and see. So now we are 43 minutes into this video. I do think we've hit on the most important subject from the road ahead, but we do have 6 other subjects to get through. We're going to move through these a lot quicker. I think there's a lot less to say. And so I may even let's open it up and see who wants to talk about Conquest changes. We'll let 1 or 2 people get in on this. How are you guys feeling about the Conquest changes coming, the new data discs, and everything else that was announced with Conquest in the road ahead? And whoever wants to jump in on this can jump in on this.
I love it. I love the changes because the myself like others we're farming cat, farming Razor Crest, farming all these gear. A lot of people were farming gear with those tickets and having to swap out the data disc. And my man Grid came out with a video doing all 5 tiers without data discs, and he's super dedicated. I'm not that dedicated. I'm sorry. I'm slapping data disc on them.
Yeah.
But it cost 5 tickets per data disc, and it was a pain. So I'm super glad that they're making it to go to energy. That also has a caveat of the more you do, the more energy you lose, which means more crystal refreshes, which equals real money. So there is that caveat of monetization, but I'm all for that rather than making them for tickets that you have to use on other things.
We'll see how much energy it is too, right? Because they haven't told us exactly how much the energy will be. If it's like 1 energy point to swap discs, I don't really see that as a huge deal. But if it's like
probably like 10 or 15, something like that.
if it's like a whole battle just to move 1 disc, then I feel like my opinion on it would change pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Well, I'm a little bit on the other end of this. The first thing, Conquest to me was fun in the beginning. It was new, it was exciting, it was different. They started to take away some of the stuff. I understand why, because they introduced these characters like Cat and now Maul into the game to make it more difficult, which is understandable. But to me, Conquest is just another thing like mod depression that I have to go through at the end of the day to achieve something that's for other aspects of the game. I don't find Conquest fun at all. I don't find it invigorating. And by looking at what they've added to these new, General Master Kenobi, really, with those buffs, I'm not worried about it because I have Kenobi and Cat. That for me, that's going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I'm just looking at like everybody else that does not have this. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
If you want people to go for this, and you want to make Conquest the game mode. What's the balance that you're looking for? I really love the fact that they changed the disc and the cost and stuff. It's something that we actually talked to Crumb about and brought up to him in one of the streams that we did recently with Crumb on our stream. But that's cool. I love it. I absolutely love it. But then I'm just looking at Conquest like it's still Conquest. What's fun about it? You go through, you achieve what you need to achieve because you have an end goal. How high of a box can you achieve to get a character that you're going to use in somewhere else? And for me, it's always been like, how is this going to affect my GAC and other things that I'm more concerned about? It doesn't feel fun. It feels like work. So I'm a little bit on the other end of the spectrum. I don't think these changes add any fun. I'm interested to see how the new discs work. I think it's a great change that they did with the disc. For cost, we have to see what that is, but I still think it's better than using tickets because of the cost it gives for characters and ships and things of that nature. For those that are still farming Cat and farming Razor Crest and now the new character, I think that's important, and I think that's a really good positive change, and I give CG credit for that. But on the other hand, I'm like, it's Conquest. Are we kidding? It's the same thing. It's going to be a few little changes here and there, but I don't see the fun in it. I don't get what's so great about it other than getting Maul or Cat or these new characters, which is I think is a creative way to introduce new characters. But it's a grind. It's a real grind. Even for me with all these GLs and all these characters and all these tunes, and it's because I always tell people it's the feats. It's not. I can go through all the sectors in 2 days and be done with it. It's the feats that you have to have the characters specifically for the feats and stuff like that. That's really the problem. And now if they're going to introduce harder boss characters on top of still some of these feats that you have to accomplish that are somewhere ridiculous, like 700% turn meter, get the hell out of here.
I want to see the percentage of players that get that feat.
I really would like to see that too, because I just do not understand that feat. Now there's ways to get around that by doing other feats and accomplish that. And some of the
I just don't get it. Yeah, I just don't get it. I get my max crate every time, but I've never once got the 700% turn meter.
I tried multiple ways in teams, and I'm sure somebody did come up with it, but I was like, this is too stupid, and I just don't have time to be dicking around with this to care. I'm going to go work on the other feats that I know I can accomplish, like Mark and some of these other ones, that I know the strategy and I can go in and do it. But I'm really worried, not for myself, because I can beat it. I'm worried about the other players that have maybe 1 GL or maybe even 2, and that don't have the other teams all built up to do some of these other feats. They're going to be screwed on some of these boxes because we're seeing that these characters, Cat was amazing. If you don't have Cat, boy, let me tell you, she's dynamite. She is stupid.
She's pretty good. Yeah.
Good Lord, is she stupid.
Okay, so Ranger with the spicy takes today. I love it. Ranger never holds back. I love it. I love it. So I want to give somebody an opportunity. Anyone have a counterpoint on the Conquest point, on not being stoked on this?
I can weigh in on that one. As someone that's below the 4 million hard mode requirement, I can't even get there. I can't even complete a full conquest. However, with that
dude,
saying,
you suck.
oh, I know, I totally do. Trust me, it's a pain in the ass. But even saying that, I love the format. It gives me something to do that when I complete the dailies, I complete all the things, I have something else to do. I don't just sit there and wait for the next thing to come back around, or if I play a GAC, it takes me an hour if I really decide to focus on it, but then I still have nothing to do. Conquest gives me something to do. Yes, it's a grind. No, I don't complete it all the time. I think I've done it twice all the way through all the sectors, but I still can't get a complete box because I can't do all the feats, especially on the last two sectors. But it's still something that's engaging and that I can participate in and I can play.
Okay, I like it. And I'm pretty much, so I see where Ranger's coming from. I see where you're coming from, Berserker. I kind of feel more in your camp. I love Conquest still. And I know some people don't feel the love from it. They feel like it's a chore and that kind of thing. I personally I want meaningful places to play the game. And I like how much time Conquest takes. I want game modes that take a lot of time because I want to play the game for a lot of time. My main complaint with Conquest is I just really want the data discs to keep things interesting. And I think that they kind of took a step back with that after they got rid of deployable cooling systems. So I'm hoping these new data discs make it feel a little bit different. And then also, I think that they really need to make the feats a little more sensible, creative, fun, that kind of thing. There's ways to bring the fun factor in more, but the grind of it is actually, I think, fun and satisfying for me personally. So I'm kind of with you on that. So let's move on to Maul. Okay, I'm sure there's still more takes on Conquest, but we're already at a 50-minute conversation. We want to get to everything here. Let's see here. Ranger, Berserker have just let's go to Stark here. Stark, how do you feel about Maul as a Conquest character, the Mandalorian tag coming with him, the fact that he's going to work with Lord Vader? Break this down for me.
I mean, I think I love it. I mean, I think Maul's awesome. Like, we get the robot legs Maul, right? Like, everyone was kind of looking for. I mean, it'd be interesting to see the interaction with Vader. Like, is he as good as Cat, etc.? I totally wailed on Kenobi. I'm more of a light side person, so I'm not necessarily going to open my wallet up for Lord Vader, even though I guess a lot of the community is very more interested in him. So
just do it. Just do it.
For me, I'm sure I'll end up getting him. I'm sure I'll end up getting C at some point as well. But so I think it's interesting. I think it sounds like a cool kit. The art looks great, so I'm pretty stoked. I tend to side more with Ranger. Of like the last few conquests just felt like a grind because I was really just trying to get Max Crate to get Cat for other game modes for like GAC or territory battles, which is what I care more about. But I'm excited. I think Maul is awesome. It'll be a great addition.
There you go. I like how you slipped that Conquest opinion in. You're like, no, I'm still gonna say my Conquest opinion.
Yeah, I got you.
That was smooth. We got a smooth criminal here. Somebody else, Bree, AP Gains, Ram, whoever wants to jump in there. How you guys feeling about the Maul look? It's something I kind of like to hear takes on. In particular, is Maul having the Mandalorian tag. I think that's gonna be really interesting.
Oh, I love that. I feel like when a lot of people were disappointed when Bo-Katan came out because they were really expecting the Mandalorian faction to really take off from there, and it still felt like it was lacking. Again, with where I'm at in the game, this is a character I'm not going to get anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still.
Don't do it.
Just spend thousands.
Thousands. But I gotta get Cat first. She's my favorite. But
She is awesome.
It's hard because Maul is another one of those characters that it's just like my heart has been wanting Robot Legs Maul for so long, and now he's available, or he will be available in a format that is currently unattainable to me, which is frustrating as hell. But I'm still really excited for the fact that he's actually going to be in the game. And it sounds like they're doing a lot of cool things with his synergy. I love that they very specifically made him a Kenobi hater. I think that's just a fun toss in with the lore of Maul.
Yeah.
It's just, and especially after seeing a lot of the frustrations with Omega's kit not really matching Omega, I feel like they did Maul justice.
Very, very well said. And I hope that you were paying attention, Berserker, because I think Bree just gave you good cosplay ideas for, you know.
Ooh.
Ooh.
She sounds like she's got a thing for Robolegs Maul. I'm just saying.
Okay, well,
I'll see what I can do.
He's a little too beardy to pull off a Maul.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
You're not wrong.
They make shit from
AP
that.
Gaines, where you at on Maul?
I'm pissed. I'm really upset about Maul.
You are
I
the
wanted him-
contrarian today. Tell me why.
I know why he's pissed. I can't wait to hear this.
Tell him, Ranger. Tell him what's up. Why am I
Because he
pissed?
guessed that this was going to be a GL, even though he didn't.
Oh,
Watch my shit.
so you're not pissed.
Oh,
you're
jeez.
butthurt.
I'm butthurt. I'm so upset. I on April 1st, me and the Star Wars guy made our April Fool's video
son.
saying that GL Kenobi and GL Maul were come out. I made up random kits. The GL Kenobi kit was actually like eerily similar to what it ended up being. And if GL Maul was announced over Lord Vader, I would have laughed so hard, gone straight to the liquor store and bought a bunch of scratch offs, and I would have been a billionaire.
Womp womp.
Okay.
But I want to hear a
So I
Ram
get it.
has
So
to say.
you and Heinze are in the same camp because Heinze was saying forever. He's like, I've got sources,
We
and
must
it's Maul.
I know, and I said my sources are better, and I got all this right. You suck.
See, me and Heinze, our sources was meme. Our sources were memes, and CG's source was money, and money eventually would beat out memes. So we just got $1.4 billion by Capital Games.
What money is greater than memes confirmed.
It really
All
is.
right. Now, speaking of money, Relic 9 is coming, and we all know that's going to be a big cash grab. I want to give everybody a chance to give your take on Relic 9 in, let's say, a minute or less. Tell me how you feel about Relic 9. I'll share mine first. I hate the idea of Relic 9 this soon. However, I'm really just not surprised by it. It's probably the part of the post that people are the most pissed about, that I'm the least pissed about, because I think I had already wrapped my mind around it happening. And also the stuff that happened with the future of GLs and stuff kind of took the front seat on what bothered me about this. But I do feel like it's too soon. The cost for Relic 8 is already high enough. And I would probably, I really want CG at some point to address the gear crunch that this game is suffering from. They have not done this. They continue increasing that goalpost without giving us any new resources or ways to get this gear. And I think that is the biggest problem with Relic 9, not necessarily Relic 9 itself, but much more so the fact that this crunch of gear remains unaddressed. So we're going to go top to bottom here. No, we're going to go bottom to top because AP Gaines, you just spoke. So Berserker, you go first. How do you feel about Relic 9?
As someone that barely has a Relic 7, and my current guild, which I'm still debating on whether or not I want to stay, can't attain.
I'm telling your guild later.
That's fine. Go ahead. I'm kind of disappointed in my guild currently. Their organization is lacking.
Put them on blast publicly. Let's get them. What's their name?
That's fine. Let's do it. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that later. I don't even have the mats for Relic 8.
Yeah.
And I don't have a guild strong enough to do. I think we do barely 6 stars or 5 stars on light or dark side of GOTB, let alone touch the challenge Raycore. So I'm kind of in the back burner with Relics past 7. And that's hard enough to get to with the grind on Cantina energy.
Well said. Stark Holdings, where are you at? Relic 9.
I'm with you, Cubs. Here's my expression: too soon. Like, this is my prediction. So we're gonna get a challenge tank takedown, right? And it's gonna take all Relic 8 characters to even enter it, basically, and then that's how you're gonna get Relic 9 material. And it's gonna it's too soon, in my opinion. I think we all knew it was coming.
Unfortunately, I think that's a really good prediction.
But I mean, they're not going to build a new raid, right? They're just going to rescan the tank one, and they're going to say, "Oh, here's how you get Relic 9 mats." It just feels too soon. Like, if you want to nerf all the characters that we like, give us a month or two before you make us buy Relic 9 mats. That's just how I feel.
All right, I like it, Ranger.
Oh boy, where to begin?
Stranger, you gonna blast him again, Ranger?
Well, I don't think I'm really blasting. I think I'm getting good constructive feedback here because it's like
you do. And that's one thing. I'll interrupt you real quick and just say it was something I've always appreciated about you, Ranger, from the very first day I met you, and I saw your face, and it was like, Ranger. I have always noticed when you're negative, you're constructive. So it's not. You do not
always constructive. I've had a few rants that have gone ballistic because I was so angry.
You are nearly always constructive. So anyway, be negative and constructive. Let's go.
Yes. Okay. So here's the problem with Relic 9. Looking at where people are with Relic 8s. If you're in a guild like mine and you're getting Relic 8 material, great. Impulse detectors set aside and how much of a nightmare those are to get, other than shipments for 2,700 crystals. Right. That being a separate issue, there's only a few places you can get Relic 8. Either you're doing Piet and then Conquest. Maybe there's somewhere else, but I'm tired and I don't know.
And can you get it in Conquest though? Because you've got to.
If you get the right box, right? You know, and where you get in, and you're not going to spend on impulse detectors because
you have to buy the character. Yeah,
you've got to get those characters first, so you're not going to spend them on those in there as well. The amount of people that have Relic 8s and the amount of Relic 8s they have, sure, at the top end Krakens, they don't care. They're going to spend anyway. They got that discretionary income, and that's cool. But I'm just looking at, even for me, I've got, 12, 13 Relic 8s. I'm like, that's cool. And I only go Relic 8s, and I have enough to do more, but I'm just like, I'm being selective of who I Relic 8. I think it's an important, one, the resources, and two, who you do. Now we're doing Relic 9. And then you make this change to Galactic Legends. I was just looking at this. I think we were doing the math on Relic 9 Rey with her abilities. Jesus. It's just like, it's creating a haves and have. I understand that, earlier players, and I always try to think about them when I make this discussion.
Yeah, me too.
Early players are not really thinking about this stuff, right? Because they're not there yet. But I'm thinking about the long-term health of them going up. I mean, how daunting of a task is it to be one in a guild that's even doing this stuff, and two, if they really want it, they have two choices: either really wait a long time or spend money for some of the stuff. I mean, the gear crunch is a big problem, but especially Relic material, especially Relic 8, it's a big deal. It's been 9 months, December 2020, since Relic 8 was announced, and we've been doing it. That still doesn't feel like enough time to me. I mean, we're going to Relic 9 in August, and that is too soon in my opinion. For me, I'll do what I always do. I'll get characters of Relic 9. I'll keep going down the line like I always do. But I try to think about this game in long-term health, like for other players. Getting characters of Relic 7 is a nightmare. With salvage and everything, if you're not a veteran player, a newer player trying to get salvage and or the mats to even take characters to Relic and then take them up Relic-wise is a nightmare. Then you're going to add on top of this, when you get to Relic 7, by the way, there's these other mats. And then Relic, it didn't really matter.
We're going again and again. And another piece of that I think is really important to highlight as well is that the game, for people who spend a decent amount, like I would say I'm a decent spender. I don't whale anymore. I'm a decent spender. They are dictating now which characters you take to Relic 8 as well, because they are now requiring them for Galactic Legends. They're requiring them for Piet ship. And with how long it takes me to get there, and I'm placing regularly top 15 in my guild in the Crancor because I actually do the raid a lot of times. It's taking me a very long time to get there. And I'm going straight from, I just finished my Kenobi farm, and I'm working on getting him up there. I should probably take him to Relic 8, right? I'm not even sure if I can afford to take my Galactic Legend to Relic 8 because I need to start working on my Vader at Relic 8. And so there's just a lot of considerations there too on how difficult it is to get these resources, and they are deciding which direction you have to go unless you are an Uber Kraken and you actually have a little bit of agency there. So
it's really it's baffling, and
yeah.
I know why they're doing it. It's just to keep the pressure for spending money, and as a degree in business and marketing and stuff, it's brilliant. As just a player and a person looking at this, like, damn, y'all, damn.
You don't make $1 billion by sitting down and doing
No,
Relic
you
1.
sure don't.
All right, Ram Bam again, minute or less. Take on Relic 9.
Too soon. I knew it was coming. Rumors have been swirling. Wasn't shocked that they were doing it. Just shocked that they were doing it this soon. It's so difficult to get Relic 8. It's so difficult to get anything past Relic 5. To be honest, right? It's just impulse detectors are a pain, hard to find unless you're willing.
Right.
We'll have the first 2 Relic 9 maces, just putting that out there. But but it's just I didn't like that it was too soon, but I expected it to come, and I was hoping more for Relic abilities that they hinted about a while back, but who knows?
Bree, where are you at on Relic 9?
No.
All right. AP. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. That could have been your whole take. That said it all.
I mean, that's about it. Like, I'm nowhere near being able to get to even Relic 8 at this point. That is still so far out of my reach. It's not even funny. So Relic 9 on top of that, gosh, it hurts my soul.
I feel that, and I've got Relic 8s. All right, I think we should clip that. That is probably the best answer we've had about Relic 9. All right, AP Gains, go ahead and say whatever the crap you're gonna say.
Well, I would like to first acknowledge that I forced everyone to start a hype train so that we could prevent Ram from speaking, and the alert didn't
You're
go
a
off.
good man, Charlie Brown.
So I'm kind of upset about that. So I'm gonna take it up with Cubs, guys. I'm gonna take it up with Cubs. We'll fix the setup, but I think Relic 9 has 2 distinct points for me. One is it's going to mess over a lot of free-to-play players in their fleet arena climbs because of a lot of mirror matches happen. The meta hasn't changed a while. It's obviously going to change the new capital ship, but a lot of players aren't going to be able to climb up and get those crystals that they've been relying on, especially if they're free-to-play, because fleet's one of the great equalizers where if you've been playing long enough, it's maxed out for everyone, so it's kind of an even stomping ground. So free-to-play and whales alike have an opportunity to coordinate with their fleet shard and get some good rewards. But it's going to mess over a lot of people because if you go Relic 9 against Relic 8, you're just not fast enough. A lot of mirror matches won't work. And the second and probably most important point is it gives my guy an opportunity from my Discord to Relic 9 before Ram does, Mace Windu, and beat him out on that special offense and finally take his crown.
I swear, I do. Oh, ooh! You want a war?
All right, you two, just go get a room and do whatever you're gonna do about that one. All right, let's move on to Lord Vader.
Run for your life!
Lord Vader is coming. All right, we all knew this was gonna be the case, except for AP Gains here. Let's talk a little bit about Lord Vader, the requirements. We've obviously got 3 Bad Batch characters. I do anticipate that Omega and Echo will be part of that as well. Padme at Relic 8, and of course, Gas at Relic 8 as well. How's everyone feeling about Lord Vader right now? I'll let anyone jump in on this, and we'll keep our takes to a minute or less again.
Are we surprised? I mean, the sad thing is that I predicted every single one of these characters, and I feel bad because I actually was joking. I think you were too, Cubs, about the Tuskens. Like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we had?
I forgot to include him. Yeah, Tusken Raider.
Put the Tusken. Yeah, I've done this myself, Anakin. But yeah, it's no surprise. I knew Relic 8 Gas, Padme. I predicted Relic 8. I knew Bad Batch was coming. I've been screaming it for months. Once they were announced, the Bad Batch character was like, well, we got Kenobi. Guess what you're gonna need for Gas? Old Bad Batch there. probably like 3 to 5. So it's one of those things. It doesn't surprise me in the least. I don't know how many more Relic 8s we'll see. It's a lot of Relic 8s. I mean, besides this and the ship, I mean, that's 4 Relic 8s. That's a plethora, Cubs, of Relic 8s. And yeah, I'm excited for GL Lord Vader. You know,
do you know what
Magma-
a plethora is, Hefe?
No, Cubs, I do not know. I do not have the intellectual capacity that you do.
Mexican Batman.
Yeah. But yeah, it's no surprise. Nothing surprised me on that. I'm excited to get GL Vader, I am Maul, and some other stuff. That was some of the stuff that I was excited about with the ship and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
Yep, I 100% called the with the exception, I think one of the Bad Batch characters. I wasn't sure if they were going to be required, but I knew Padme was going to be 100% Relic 8. Been saying that for months. I knew Gas was 100% going to be required. Relic 8 makes sense. Tusken makes sense. I think I forgot about Tusken, but it made sense. I think we now have the most useless character, and that's coming from someone who has Rey and JMK, so Mace and Rose.
don't forget about Mace.
Did you just call Mace the most useless character?
I did not say that.
That's what he said. Hey,
Let's say I
Stark
agree with
Holdings,
you,
could
Cubs.
you tell me how you feel about Lord Vader?
It's cool. I mean, everyone knew it was coming. I'm personally, I'm not the world's largest Vader fan, but I'm sure I'll end up getting it at some point.
I love how he just cuts me off. This is great.
I didn't want to give you a chance to counter, but I did appreciate Stark's take as well. Any other takes on Lord Vader? Ram, if you do want to get in there and finish whatever you were saying, go ahead.
I love Lord Vader. I can't wait to see his kit, and I hope we get something of killing younglings, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, we
do
can
have
always
Omega
pit him
now.
against Omega. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
We've already done that, right, with Anakin. So
That was pretty funny.
all right. There's a lot more that we'll talk about with Lord Vader. Of course, the requirements are coming down the line. What those end up being will be interesting to see. It's kind of interesting. I feel like the community is more or less subdued about Anakin, or about Lord Vader, because we kind of knew it was coming. The requirements aren't really that shocking. And so I'm not really seeing everything else that happened with this road ahead was so much more front and center that it's interesting to see a new galactic legend kind of be not really that talked about right now, which is probably the first time we've seen that with a new GL announcement. So, all right, last big item on the list, and then we'll talk briefly about the community GAC coming, which is something that I think is really exciting. Piet ship. Effectively a galactic legend ship. We've got Relic 8 required characters to get this thing. This is going to throw a massive wrench into what fleet looks like right now, and I think that it's already been mentioned, concerns with what Relic 9 would do to those free-to-play fleets, where free-to-play players have a little more of an opportunity to compete on even ground. I think more so we're going to see that happen with Piet, because free-to-play players aren't going to be able to get this ship, because they're not going to be able to get the Relic 8 materials for this ship. And so I'd love to hear some takes on this. Maybe Berserker, I don't think you've said anything for just a hot minute. Tell me how you feel about Piet ship.
Well, I'm honestly, ships have been one of my weaker points. I know that a lot of people don't like ships.
I love ships.
I like oh yeah, you love them. I know
the best
it's your
game
favorite mode.
ever.
It's great. I wish that we had more and it was a little bit better. I feel like currently it's pretty stagnant. I mean, if you don't have Negotiator or the Malevolence, you're basically screwed. It's kind of the way that they're the GLs of the ship world.
Yeah.
So with a new ship, it's kind of nice, but at the same time, with the requirements that it's going to take, it's might as well be a GL or at least a legendary level ship. I mean, I don't even have my I don't even have a Relic Boba Fett, let alone a Piet.
Yep.
So it's going to take quite a bit to get that ship, from my perspective.
All right.
I think the new Piet ship is going to be kind of the switch we saw in the Fleet Arena meta, like we saw in Squad Arena. It's going to go from Malevolence Negotiators; those are going to be your your full gas teams to once we get our GLs first implemented to the game. And now, I mean, you can still get your gas up in the top end if you're in a relatively new shard, or even if you just, time your climb correctly. I think it's going to be the same thing. I think we're going to start seeing more and more Piets at the top, and some negotiators and malevolences will find their way up there, but eventually they'll get phased out. And I think it's going to be the exact same shift that we saw in the squad arena meta, but just in the fleet arena.
Any other takes? Very well said. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I am absolutely stoked, and I'm going for Piet over Lord Vader first, because it's one of my all-time favorite capital ships with the Super Star Destroyer. Love the fact that he's working with bounty hunters. I preferred Hondo, but I love the meme of Piet working with bounty hunters, even though he hates them. With the introduction of Relic 9,
feels like a stretch to me, but all right.
Well, not really. I mean, he said it himself. Anyway, off topic. But with the introduction of Relic 9, good luck getting through a Houndstooth at Relic 9 with Piet. I just 100%. Requirements make sense.
Yeah.
Sucked for the steep requirement. I don't think Piet needs to be at Relic 8, but he is going to be the captain, so it makes sense for a damage perspective and survivability and whatnot. I'm definitely down. I'm going headstrong hot on Piet ship.
Bree, I'm going to thank you on the video for all the gifted subs. Thank you. And you're on voice, so I can actually verbally thank you.
Hey, we've got to keep the hype streak going. We're on what?
This is day
12?
number 13 if we get this one. And so on a video, normally I don't reference live trains too much if we're on a video, but we've got one going on Twitch right now. If you're not familiar with Twitch, be sure to check out our streams. We have a lot of fun. And if we reach this goal, then I'm gonna wear a sexy maid outfit on stream. Is kind of how this works. And so Bree's
please God don't. Please Jesus God don't. Please God. No.
All right, this is a great place to end the video. We have got a community grand arena promised from Crumb. It's going to be prominent community members, probably some of the better players in the game. I'm guessing content creators as well, facing off against what they're calling facing off against the devs and what they're calling a speed GAC run. What do you guys think about this? I feel like this is awesome and super engaging. It doesn't really do much for the game itself, but for community camaraderie and excitement and that kind of thing, I think this is going to be a pretty fun event.
I agree 1,000%. And it's funny because this came about from when we were doing the mini stream, I think with Crumb on this, that we were talking about doing a TW with against the developers and people from CG.
Yeah.
And then Crumb said, well, what do you guys think about doing a GAC? And we're like, yeah, that would be great. Whatever. It would be cool to have, the content creators versus devs, whoever from CG. And Crumb took it down, and I give him credit. I mean, him and Doja took the idea and they're running with it. So I'm excited to see what happens. I don't ask a content creator if they're going to be on it, because even if they are going to be on it, they can't tell you. You have to wait and see.
I can confirm that Rambam Ranger, myself, and Stark here, and AP Gains don't know if we're going to be on it or not.
Oh, they're definitely not. There's no way. There's no way they're picking me.
I love the idea though, but yeah, I mean, there's certain people I want to see on there. Ranger, Heinze, Grid, Mort, Xeris. I think that's about all the ones I really. Oh, there's this guy Cubs too. I guess we include him. But I love the idea. It's definitely something I think the community's been asking for a while.
It'd be pretty fun to see who wins. I think I don't necessarily view myself as like some special brain for this. Berserker, man, oh my gosh. We got people in the whale chat right now dropping subs. Thank you very much, Berserker.
That's why they're in the whale chat.
That's why
they whale.
This is where
I whale more on Twitch than I do in the. Yep.
Yep.
It's funny. Anyway, I don't view myself as any big brain. I just have fun. But there's definitely a lot of creators that I would love to see get involved that are very, very intelligent when it comes to this game. And I would love to see the community take the devs to lunch in that grand arena. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh yeah, man. I predict the content creators, because we'll all be in the same chat at the same time, like, Oh hell no! Use this counter. Get his ass. Get him.
I think I can see Ranger. You know that meme of Leo DiCaprio? I think it's from Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like, ooh, ooh. You know, that's gonna be you.
Just want to know like how they're. I would like to know how they're going to do it because everybody's account is obviously different, and so I
imagine it'll be on different accounts,
on test accounts and whatnot on a private server. I'm assuming that's really
very confident that's how they'll do it. So more details on that to come later. Let me know how you guys feel about it down in the comments below. So that is going to be where we end this edition of the Whale Chat. Longest Whale Chat we've had yet. We're at an hour and 20 minutes. There was a lot to discuss. We may even do more chats on these subjects. I love doing these whale chats when the community asks for them. We used to do them weekly. I think that was a little too much, but now we're kind of at a place where we like to do them when there's big news to cover and you guys want to get the takes. And so both Bree, AP Gains, and Berserker as well, your first time coming to Whale Chats, all three of you guys. I want to thank you guys in particular for coming. We really appreciate your takes. You guys all added a lot to this, and I'm really glad you guys came.
Thanks for having us, man.
Me.
Yeah, much appreciated.
You bet. And then, of course, Ranger and Stark, we were really glad to have you here as well.
Great. Yay. Screw Ram Bam. God dang Mace lovers.
okay.
Mace sucks.
Wait,
Accept
did I not thank Ram for being here?
Nope. You did a good job. I'm very proud of you, Cubs. You've grown.
No, the only reason we make fun of Ram is because we love Ram, and so Ram, even though you get crap, we appreciate you coming too. You're awesome, dude.
Okay, I take pride in the fact that I've given a lot of content creators Mace.
Your love for Mace has made you the butt of every joke on every channel.
Yep. So
I like how
you've done this to
I like
yourself.
How he gets the shit, but Mace is objectively better than Cup, but all of the shit gets put on him.
Well,
not wrong.
Here's the difference: is you're memeing it, AP Gains. Ram is serious.
I've never known Ram to be serious in the. He gave birth to me, so I've known him quite a long time, but I've never known him to be serious.
You've been betrayed in a way that I can't even begin to describe to you, AP.
I think I lost the will to live.
This is getting weird.
Under JMK. Beautiful day.
He doesn't do anything under JMK. Get over it, man. Seriously,
I'm gonna mute all of you right now because I gotta end the video. Love you guys so much. Thanks for coming to the Whale Chat. Like the video, and as always, my brothers, don't forget, Mace sucks.